Hi everyone, in this week's Employee Spotlight series, I'm joined by Martha O'Donovan, Resourcing Manager here at Aspira. Thanks for joining me today, Martha.
Thank you, Deirdre. Thank you for having me.
Martha, you joined Aspira relatively recently in December of last year. How are you settling in?
Very good. Everyone has been extremely welcoming to me. It was strange, definitely starting a new role remote, but I'm really enjoying it, and I suppose the team have been absolutely fantastic. So no complaints from my side since joining, for sure.
Tell me a little bit about your career path to date.
So in terms of my career, I started out many years ago. I suppose did applied biosciences in college, didn't know if it was for me or not, and I went in one day for a job interview, and the lady asked me would I ever consider recruitment. So I went in blind thinking I was going for a customer service based role, and I decided, okay, maybe I might consider recruitment. So I started out in an agency, and they sent me actually on an academy over to the UK as well, to develop up my training and give me the tools and techniques that's needed to work within the industry. So I found that really interesting, and it really just Deirdre took off from there. Worked with that company for just over a year. Then I had another goal that I wanted to work directly with the life sciences industry. So another company I joined gave me the opportunity to do so and work with a lot of life sciences based industry. And then I moved in-house for a couple of years, working again with a superb company, where I got a load of opportunities working directly on site in a pharmaceutical customer, supporting recruitment and HR work, but also working predominantly within the strategies around talent acquisition. And lo and behold, I came to Aspira as the resourcing manager. So really has been the last 10 years of working within talent acquisition and HR, which I thoroughly enjoy.
And you haven't looked back since?
I definitely haven't. So I'm very thankful to that person many years ago that said it to me about considering a role in recruitment, for sure.
So I imagine no 2 days are the same. What does a typical day look like for you?
It's very, very different, can be very challenging for sure at times. So my typical day is really supporting key stakeholders within the business. We get, I suppose, a lot of various demands coming through from business and technical resourcing requirements. So supporting my team, I have a fabulous team of recruiters reporting into me, and I suppose working very closely with those guys, delegating out roles, but just ensuring that we're hitting key objectives in terms of our metrics as well as a team. So very much so supporting our internal stakeholders, but also as well supporting our clients and ensure that we're driving that success and making sure that we're hitting the, I suppose, talent elements that they're looking for as well for their projects. And
what do you enjoy most about your role, Martha? And I suppose on the flip side, what are the biggest challenges?
So what I enjoy the most is actually, Deirdre, the variety that the role entails. Like no day is the same. So one day you're like every hour could even change. It's such, I suppose, a demanding role, changing priority. So I really enjoy that side. For me, I love talent acquisition. It's always been close to my heart. So just dealing with various different people across the business, even from an internal and external perspective, I really enjoy that. The challenging part, and I think every person that works in recruitment, I suppose at the moment would definitely agree with me, is around the war for talent. There's a lot of jobs in the market. It's a very employee-driven market at the moment. So just ensuring that we're keeping up with, I suppose, what's needed as a business as well would be key. But it's very challenging at the moment with what's going on in the market.
I understand employee engagement is a top challenge for business leaders this year in particular. What are the key priorities for you for developing a good employee strategy? And how has Aspira, I suppose, responded to that challenge?
I think employee engagement is definitely at the forefront of an awful lot of businesses at the moment, and particularly, I suppose, here in Aspira. I think the last 2 years has shifted completely, people's, I suppose, views on a lot of perspectives and having to adjust to a new way of working, which is remote. So I suppose from a leadership perspective, I think it's really important that leaders understand, I suppose, their employees in terms of what they're ideally looking for. I think it's important for, I suppose, people to have, I suppose, a growth plan a professional growth plan in place. And I also think the reward and recognition is another key part in terms of that employee recognition piece. So it's adjusting that flexibility as management to ensure that people mightn't want to work anymore on site. People might not want to work every day, coming to the office and spend an hour in a car as well. So it's just adjusting that. And I think what Aspira do extremely well is our top management team are very much so listening to the needs of their employees, understanding where, I suppose, their strengths are, and adapting to those strengths. So for us, it's really about the purpose behind someone's job. So we're very flexible, I think, as an employer. So just ensuring, it's very hard. I think there's so many elements you could probably go down with employee engagement, but everyone's working remote. So it's having those tools and those techniques, building, I suppose. I think everyone's kind of, to be honest, sick of Teams meetings. I think everyone feels these days they're going from meeting to meeting. But they would be the elements for me is that what I would recommend in terms of key priorities is having good leadership from top management, having, I suppose, professional growth plans in place, Deirdre, and also as well that reward and recognition piece.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Martha. What advice would you offer to somebody considering a role in resourcing or recruitment?
I think if anyone is considering a role that offers, I suppose, an awful lot in terms of career progression paths, offers the opportunity to learn an industry that ultimately is, I suppose, the key to success to any business, because without your staff, I suppose you have nothing. So for me, it's having someone that's very, I suppose, customer service orientated, because those style of people tend to work quite well dealing with people day in, day out, having, I suppose, a strong ambition behind you and being results orientated, because the key for this particular role is driving results. So we do have KPIs and you do have quick turnarounds to achieve. So they'll be the kind of elements that I would say that anyone should consider. I tell anyone, give resourcing a go. It's genuinely, it's very rewarding. You definitely have your ups and downs, but it's really enjoying.
I'm convinced, Martha. Now, Martha, I hear that you're a very keen rally driver, if my sources are correct. So I suppose, where did you find your love of motorsports, and what characteristics are required to succeed in that sport, and does your drive in resourcing come from there?
Yeah, would you believe, I'll tell you a story, Deirdre. I used to, when I was back in doing my leaving cert, we got brought into career guidance teacher, and she did a test to tell us exactly what type of career we should go for. And my results came back as a rally driver. She was like, "Oh, I'll do it again." And I was like, "No, I'm kind of happy with that." But no, I think it was from my dad, really. My dad is a mechanic and had us very young going to all the rallies, I suppose, throughout Ireland. My brother's heavily involved in the co-driving. My partner is also a rally driver. So I think for anyone that is looking at that type of skill set in that type of area, it's really your attention to detail is key. And I suppose that feeling you get as well from it, you have to have high adrenaline inside in that. And there's some similarities definitely to resourcing, because I do get a bit of an adrenaline when you make a placement or you get things across the line, but it has been bred into me from very early days. So yeah, that's where that comes from. It's my dad, so he's to blame for this.
We'll have to come and watch you someday. Martha, thanks a million for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Likewise, Deirdre, thanks for having me.